Well, shall we get started? I think we can get started. Sure. Today welcome everyone to the first CRM chat of 2024. We are going to be discussing data stories. I'd like to first just go around and we can introduce ourselves, name and where you are, who you work for, what system you're using. I'll start because not everybody knows me. My name is Leah Simpson. I work for CKC as a project manager. I've been here coming up on 2 years, very soon, very quickly. It'll be 2 years. I've been in the AEC industry for 15 years, and the system that I'm most familiar with is Uninet by Cosential. I've worked in that system for over, 10 years. I don't even know, 10, 11 years, something like that. I'm losing count these days. A decade. Here we go. New year. So we'll go in order that I see here. So Amber, I see you. You are right next to me in our little Brady Bunch.
Hi, I'm Amber. I work with Cross Anderson Construction Company. We're a contracting company based out of Minneapolis. And we use Uninet Cosential. We've been using it since I think 2012. So we've been doing it for a long time. And I am in it every day, pretty much all day. So yeah, that's what I live and breathe.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Next I have Carla.
Hi, my name is Carla McCord. I'm with Lovin Contracting. We're in Flagstaff, Arizona. And you'll have to forgive me, it's currently snowing like crazy, so I'm like coming off of a quick check in the field. And then getting some pictures. And then we use Nimble.
Okay. Nice. I'm actually originally from Phoenix, Arizona, so I know Flagstaff.
Yes, very different
Beautiful.
from Phoenix.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, my sister went to NAU, so
we call ourselves South Colorado.
That's appropriate. Awesome. Well, welcome. Nice to meet you. And then we have Stephanie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie Hunt. I'm the marketing director for Hair Show. So we're a landscape architecture firm. And I'm not sure what all the questions were, but we use Deltek Vantage Point. And I say we use it. I mean, it's been like the ERP system, and we're using it to track all pursuits. As a CRM, I'm trying to build that out so that it can be kind of moved out of what they've been doing in the past. I've been here for 2 years, so it's a slow process.
Yeah, awesome. Well, welcome. And then we have my teammate here, Erica. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Erica Curtis. I'm the Marcom specialist at CKC. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and where we are expecting huge snow this weekend, supposedly. And we use Uninet with CKC.
Awesome. All right. And I forgot to say where I'm from. I am in Miami. I will not tell you the weather outside. However, it is raining, but it's probably 80 degrees, even though I'm in a sweatshirt. So
yeah, and I'm in Chicago. I forgot to say that we're bracing for a high of 0 on Monday.
Oh, wow. Oh, you guys.
Us too, actually.
Really?
Whoa.
Oh. I love warm weather. I'm sorry, I like cold weather, so I'm not that thrilled. I'm actually jealous of all of you guys. So anyways, here we go. But I never lived in the snow, so I say that coming from that perspective, but that's fine. Still jealous. I hate being hot year round. All right, so we are talking about data stories. So I guess my first question to you, actually, let's go through the slides real quick because we just want to do a little introduction about what this webinar or chat is about. I guess I want to say webinar, but we're not presenting. It's actually just a discussion amongst ourselves about, other CRM admins. So it's a very informal chat between us to just, you know, talk about how we're using our systems, what we're using in our systems for. So it's nice to have your cameras on and your, you know, your mics on, and we can just all just chat, just hop in, ask questions, learn things from each other. I will not be presenting anything other than, you know, just what you see here. I'm really just here to facilitate a conversation amongst us. So is there one more slide, Erica? I think
Oh, there
that's-
is. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Here we go. These are the
And so
resources.
yeah, sorry. These are the resources that if you have not read our received our emails, I'm happy to send you guys links. I believe they were in the emails that you received for this. You probably have them, but this is the where the topic came from. So if you have any questions, feel free. All right, we have Katie. Let's do a quick introduction with Katie and then we'll move on. If you're there. No, okay. We can come back to Katie. So my first question out to the group is, what does data stories mean to you? When you hear that, what do you like, where does your mind go? I was talking with Erica today and I was just like, oh my gosh, I get so thrown by data stories. All I want to say is data visualization, but you know, it's expanded upon that. What does it mean to you when you hear data stories? And this can go to anyone unless I don't want to call anybody out, but I will call someone out if you guys make me.
I mean, I guess to me, I mean, just like it
Okay.
says, you know, telling a story with their data and trying to make it, I guess, interesting or easy for people. Cause I think that's where I get torn is it's easy for me to read it, but then describing it or explaining it,
Mhm.
sometimes I'll lose people, you know, just because I feel like they know what I'm thinking in my head.
Oh
So
my
I,
gosh. That's me all the time. Yeah. And I start to be like, maybe I'm just a little weird. I'm just weird because like
you don't see it?
you
Like,
don't see it. It's
right
right
there.
there. But it's what's always interesting to me is that like 2 months later, I'll come to that report and be like, what did like it was so easy in that moment when you're putting it together, but then like months later. So yeah, I'm with you, girl. What does it mean to everyone else?
I think for me, I mean, I think it just always screams numbers. And I don't know if that's always what it should be, but it's always, to me, it's like numbers, 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 like tell a story with numbers and make that
Yeah.
visually appealing again.
Yeah.
But data, and I don't even know if that's what it should be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like we have been on such a track to capture data. We need to capture data. We need to capture data. And I feel like now most companies are at this point where we have all this data. It's like, how do we use it? What do I do with this? What does it mean? And so, you know, that's why this conversation is so great because it's like, how else, like, what else can we get out of this data that's interesting? I find when I talk to my clients and I see how they're using it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. So yes, that's great. Does anyone else, Carla or Katie, do you have anything, how you use or see what it means to you? How do you guys feel about your data storytelling? Are you confident in it? Do you feel like you could learn some more, or do you feel like when you present stuff that it's well received?
I think mine is when it's social media related. And I don't know, you know, how that all fits in, but when you're talking about kind
Yeah,
of both,
same.
like who you're reaching, how you're reaching and the sheer number, there's so much that's already built in to be able to show like 1 year versus the next or quarterly or impacts. But I think when it comes down to a database that we're housing all of our CRM information, I'm not really able to pull much data of the impact, like the one-to-one sometimes of that. And I feel like that could be a bigger story that's not really being told.
Yeah, is that, so you're not able to, do you not have the dashboard set up, or is it that you don't know how to do the reporting, or you don't know, like, what's the struggle there?
Well, it's kind of like, you know, we have all over the current clients that we have, but we're kind of missing the connection between the outliers of those, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
You know, like, for example, if we're not directly contracted one way or another, we're kind of missing the bigger picture of how all of that works. And I feel like that's all part of our CRM. And that's not being, it's not really part of the data. And it's kind of missing all that connection that I think the database could and should be doing.
Yeah, is that meaning like you're wanting to track like your targeted clients and non-targeted clients, where are these opportunities coming from? And then how, like, we want to do business with this. I guess, yeah, just tracking your wins and losses off of your targeted and non-targeted. Do you have?
Like if, yeah,
points
like
for
if
that?
we're directly contracted to a client, and that could be residential or commercial, like the
Mhm.
end user client. If we're not directly contracted as a sub or they're a sub to us, they're not really tied to that project per se. So I feel like there's a lot of missing information and the data's not really connected, and therefore you're not really able to capture it, and then I'm not able to tell that story.
Yeah.
Did that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. So what, are you residential contractors?
So we're landscape architects,
Landscape
both
arch-
residential and commercial.
Okay, got it. Um, anyone else? Amber, do you have anything? How do you feel about your data storytelling? I know you guys have a lot of sophisticated dashboards and stuff, so.
Yeah, and we've had it for over a decade here, so it's been interesting. The last like 5 years, people are really latching on to the data and now trusting the data, which is a huge thing. Before it was like, I think we got the eye rolls all the time when it's like, oh, Cocentrol, woo, or whatever. But now people are trusting the data. So going back to what Stephanie was saying too, is we started tracking. I mean, it's almost too much data, but there's not enough, that's not a thing. But we track everything. Even if we decided not go for it, it's in the system, then we record. Whether we pass on it, we win it, we lose it, we record the reason. So it could be relationship, could go either way. We won it because of a great relationship, or we lost it because it was a great relationship, or we decided to pass on it because the contract terms were too much, or, so then we track all that. And so quarterly at our meetings, we track, we've had this many opportunities, we've passed on this many, we've lost this many, won this many. So, I mean, when it comes to like that part, I guess that's what triggered my brain, but we have so many widgets and stuff on our dashboard and so much. But we even started tracking, we meet with different market sectors quarterly, and we even started tracking, well, where were you last year? What did you have in the system last year for next year? Like what's your outline? What's your pipeline looking? Do you have more in your pipeline, less than, I mean, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So I feel like sometimes we tell a really good story, and then sometimes I think I get lost in that shuffle again, going back to what I was talking about before, is like, am I getting it across what I'm trying to show, or I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally get that. So when you're looking at your past data, are you using that to help you project your future data? Is that what you're looking at that for, right? Like, what's in my
Yeah.
pipeline against, like, if we passed on all of these. And
Or
then
sometimes it's a
measure
specific
against-
client or something we've, then we'll see, like, maybe it's a company that we have never had a project with before, but then since we had old stuff in there, we'll be like, well, we've actually passed on 3 of them, or we've lost 3 times. Are we gonna use all of our resources to really prep for this, RFP or whatever else coming out, if we just keep losing because we'll never come to contract terms, or, something like that. So we do use that and with our go, no go, that kind of stuff. So we really can look at that historical,
Mhm.
or even work to get better. This is why we keep losing. How can we win this? Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
or why do we keep passing on it? That kind of stuff.
And then I guess tying all of that back to the topic, because I will go down a business development rabbit hole so quickly, and I feel like I'm spiraling that way. So tying that back to our data stories, it sounds like you guys have so much data now that you are in a lucky position where you're like, now I have to start telling that story, and you probably want to brush up on that. You're like, I can capture it. We have it working, still working on that story part. That's awesome. How, I guess similar question, but how would you rate your storytelling?
I don't want to keep talking, but
Yeah, no, that's okay. See,
I feel like we're better, like,
Yeah.
if it was a scale 1 to 10, I'd say we're more like towards that 7, 8 now, getting to where our stuff's maybe even a little higher because people are understanding it and seeing it visually out there. And again, trusting it. But
Yeah.
there's always work to be done. And I get intrigued sometimes when I see or reading some of your articles, it's like, oh, how can I remember to kind of visually put that data so it's not so overwhelming in one chart, breaking it
Yeah.
up or something. So
Breaking
that's
it
what
up,
I get
yeah,
intrigued about, is how to relay it a little bit better.
Yeah, no, that's helpful. Love to see your reading our great articles. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably rate my data storytelling at like, I feel like I'm great at capturing it and understanding it, but I think my delivery of it is not always the best. I could have a conversation like this and tell you, but if I actually had to visually do it and write it down, I'd probably put myself at like a 5. But if I had to explain it and like say out loud, I'd probably be at like a 9. But like making it a visual is it's so hard. So it's definitely a skill. Awesome. Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry, I had a question for people. I'm curious what people are using for communicating their data. Like, is it mostly through dashboards in your CRM, or are you publishing reports to people, putting it on paper or presentations? I'm curious what tools people are using. I'm trying to think of ways to communicate my data to our team.
Yeah, that is a really good question. The tool. So I guess it would be like, are you extracting directly from your system, just creating snapshots? Are you creating PowerPoints? Are you guys using Power BI? Or are you extracting the data and then manipulating it yourself and creating graphs within like Excel and InDesign?
Well, for me, some of our data is automatically pulled through reports through our CRM, and then it's automatically uploaded from, well, it's not auto, the reports are auto, and then the numbers are input then to review in executive weekly meetings. So it's it's not beautiful. It's just kind of numbers, and some of that's that distracted or extracted out to give a few more numbers, but there's nothing pretty about it. The only time I do that is kind of like the year-end reports where it's really has to be a presentation to all partners. So from ours, and we haven't tackled dashboards yet, and I feel like that's where I want to go.
Yeah. How do you think your users react to just seeing the raw data? Do you feel like they really they can easily understand it just looking at the raw data, or is it preferred that it's in a report or like a year end kind of thing? Like
Yeah, I feel like since the rest of it that we review, it's all similar, the way it's done, and those are like other non-marketing related numbers. So I feel like they're able to digest it that way. So I think they're just used to it, and it's minimal.
Yeah. Anyone else using?
We do it all, I mean, each of those ways kind of, because reports, we use reports all the time. We have weekly reports, monthly reports, quarterly reports, save reports that people grab if they need like our proposal teams, if they need stuff, they can just grab those reports. We do use our dashboards, so we have all the widgets, so the graphics. But sometimes you don't love the graphics, so then you would like put it into something else and manipulate it and put your own colors or styling to it a little bit more. So we'll do that. But again, like now our people are trusting it. So the monthly reports that they always have with senior management meetings, each ones that do it, they use those same widgets on where we're at, so they'll go and just snip the image all the time. And we use the graph ones, the percentage ones, all those kind of ones. So I think we use a mixture.
Yeah. You use Power BI at all?
We don't. Now I know that our project management team is starting to use that more, and I keep hearing it and everything, and it's so I keep having that note, like look into it more.
Yeah.
Because I really want to. But we have not done that yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's such a great tool if you can get somebody to set it up, because that's where, like in Uninet, I'm not sure about others, but you can just create the widget and have you just enter a title, but at least in Power BI, you can actually include that narrative if you wanted to, which would be nice, like some kind of summary.
I have to look into that because I always write that down and then just haven't.
Yeah, and the data lake is much more well built out at this point, that it's getting to that point where you can get a lot of the revenue projections are available in data lake. Anyways, that's the Uninet rabbit hole I'm going through, so I'm gonna move on. So what is your what is your definition of data storytelling? Do you have a definition? I guess when I first started off, like I said, I struggled with the word storytelling because I just felt like it kept putting me into like writing narratives or something. And really, for me, it's data visualization is how I really define it. Data visualization with like a narrative around what it is, right? Like, why was there a dip, or what is this data really telling me? Like, why do I need to know my hit rates? What, like, how does that tie into my pipeline? And then what, like, why do I even need to see a pipeline, you know? So that, I guess, that's my definition of is visualizing your data, like trying how I can use this in the future. What's your guys' definition of data storytelling? Anyone else?
You'll have to forgive me for mostly listening because
Yeah.
our definition of data storytelling is we would like to do that sometime.
Yeah.
We're kind of a mess over here, but we're working on it, so.
Yeah. So what do you do for report? Do you guys do report out on your data at all? There's no, like, you guys are trying to get there.
We are really trying to get there. Actually, amusingly enough, we are currently actively using your book
Oh, great.
to complete some leadership buy-in on real investment in this,
Mhm.
and an understanding of, you know, being a mid-sized contractor, it's always a question of staff time versus, you know, all of the other commitments that everyone has, and just essentially selling the value of what we need for everyone to participate in.
Mhm.
So, anyway, I just,
Yeah.
so you guys know I'm not participating, but I don't have a lot of useful contributions yet.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, thank you for sharing that, because that's helpful, and it's great that you're here, and hopefully you have some little nuggets to take away. It's great to
Yeah.
hear reading
The
the
book
book.
is currently sitting on the president's desk, which is a good
Okay.
sign, so.
Once it gets signed, you said?
No, it's a good sign.
It's a good sign, yeah.
Yeah, he will read it, so he's working on it.
Yeah, I've found the book to be very, very helpful.
You know, that is such a challenge too, because I remember for so many years because it's not cheap for these systems, and to get that executive buy-in and to explain, the real value in it. And it does actually save you time after you get over that hump. But yeah, that is always, I feel for you there, because that's a tough.
Honestly, if it was just a question of cash, I don't think it would be hard to convince people, but everybody knows that a project like this is all encompassing for a little while, and then it changes processes across the company, and everybody is looking at it like with a little bit of dread. So, because we are at least smart enough to know that it's not a small or easy thing to solve, so.
no, it is a big task to take on.
It's really a cultural shift, and
Mhm.
I think we have the culture there, but not necessarily in its entirety, so.
To get away from those spreadsheets was one of the biggest things to try to like.
We're not in
like,
spreadsheets, we're not that bad.
well, everyone has their own information, and that whole cultural thing too.
Yeah.
People don't want to let go of it either, and they don't want it out, so yeah, it's always some kind of battle.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually one of the big battles we have internally is the data scraping. We've got some departments that aren't very excited, namely our finance department, about the data scraping. So they like to hold things very close to their chest,
Yeah,
as accountants tend to do.
yeah, yes, they live in their little bubble there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I find a lot of people who have that, reluctance to get clients who have reluctance to get in or, not the full buy-in, as you start getting that data in the system and then, I know you, Amber, have experienced this, I'm sure, but as they start getting little tastes of it, it's like, well, can I see this? Can I see this? Oh, I can do that. And then all of a sudden it's just like, this database is like gold and like, why isn't it in the system? And I need this. And then you're like, I've been telling you that for the last 5 years, but that's okay. I'm not gonna be mad. Yes, I can give that to you. So I hope, Carla, that you're able to convince them to get there, because I'm sure once they're there, everybody loves discipline, we don't want to do it, but once we have discipline and processes and we actually are able to see the result and like open up your database and actually be able to see like, wow, this is my win rate. And like, I brought in, $30 million into this company, and to be able to put that easily on their assessment, I mean, it feels really good. At least it always did to me when I was working for, a general contractor. I was with a general contractor for 10 years. And so, for me, it was just incredibly valuable. And actually the first year I implemented Uninet, because I rolled it out at my contracting firm, and I was haggling the executives and the PMs for all this information, and they're just like, just delete it, we don't need to know that, whatever. At the end of the year I was like, you brought in $35 million this year, and you brought in $100 million. They just didn't, they were besides themselves. Some of them were almost in tears, because they're like, I've never known this, like never knew like what my contribution was to this company, and to be able to have that on a piece of paper, it like, and to be able to, present that to their boss, and just to be able to see it and have that to fall back on. I mean, it's kind of priceless, so I don't know, but that was my experience. So I hope that you get there. Oh, Katie says that's powerful. I'd like to get that. Thank you. So we are coming up on time. I think this was a great call. Thank you all for really participating. I think it's always so nice, whether it's a large group or small group, and nobody feel like, if you want to come here and vent and just take up the whole time, have at it. We are here to support each other and, get us to where we need to be. And if somebody has the information, that's what this is for. We need to get off topic sometime to help you solve a problem, then here we go. I'm all for rabbit holes. So, I'll dive in it with you. But if anyone has any questions or need to reach out to us, I believe there's an email in the email that came out to you. That's Courtney, the owner. You can get in touch with me or Erica or even her. We'd be happy to meet with you or ask you any question, answer any questions, or help you with any roadblocks. So feel free to reach out to us. We're here for your data needs. So
Thank you.
and have a
Thank you.
wonderful beginning of the year. Thanks.